Hello everyone and welcome to our first reading session of the week. The book we're going to be looking at this week is called Totally Weird Plants. Now you may think this looks like a different type of book to a storybook, and you're right. It is a non-fiction book, so an information book. And unlike most fiction books, so most stories, we don't have to read this in one go from the start, the first chapter, to the end to understand. This book has a contents page like most information texts, which means we can dip in and out of the book depending on what we need to find out. Now, obviously, we're looking at plants because that is our learning journey, and you've done really well so far. So hopefully this will give you some more information to help you answer our learning journey question. So let's just have a think before we dive into the book a bit more at what information texts have that's special to them. So what features an information text has. Now it's got a main title, okay, so that could be the title of the book or it could be just a page, and that sums up the topic. We've got photographs and illustrations. So information texts include images to make the information easier to understand. These can be realistic photos or annotated diagrams. Captions to go with our photos or illustrations. Captions are used to describe included photographs and illustrations. Now, importantly here, we've got headings and subheadings. So just like we don't have to read the book from start to end, often you might not need to read a whole page of an information text if you can identify the subheading that you need, so the part that you need to know about. So these are used to introduce the content of different paragraphs and to help the reader navigate, so help the reader work their way through the text. And finally, paragraphs. So that's the same, just like in fiction texts. These are the main bodies of text that include topic information and can include scientific vocabulary. Okay, so before we start to read the text, I'd just like you to have a quick look. Here it is. Here's a page from our book. And I wonder if you can pause the video and see if you can spot any of those 5 features. Let's just remind you. So main title, photographs, captions, paragraphs, headings and subheadings. Can you pause the video now and see if you can identify any of those features here? Okay, good job. So let's have a closer look. We're going to dive in to this page and then I'm going to ask you to answer some questions. So we're just retrieving information from the text today. We're not reading between the lines. All the answers are in the text here. We'll read it through first and then you can answer the questions. So pause the video now, make sure you've got a pen and a piece of paper. Write today's date, Monday the 18th of May 2020, and our learning objective. Can I retrieve information from the text to answer questions? Then read along with me. Here we go. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit to see if we can read it a little bit more clearly. Here we go. Green world. Did you know that you share this planet with more than, can you read that number? 375,000 different kinds of plants. Your green neighbours grow all over the place, in gardens and deserts, and on snowy mountain tops. Hopefully you spotted our first subheading here, old timers. Plants have been around for more than 400 million years. That's before the dinosaurs roamed the earth. The first kinds of plants were small and simple. In time, plants developed into giant leafy tree ferns and thick spongy mosses. Flowering plants first appeared about 135 million years ago. Wow, that's a long time ago. Here I've got a dinosaur and he says delicious and so many kinds to choose from. He's obviously a herbivore. We've got a box up here an information box within the text to make it stand out. And it says, "That's weird. Mushrooms and sea anemones, I can say that, sea anemones, that's better, may look like plants, but they're not. They belong to different groups of living things. Mushrooms are a kind of fungus, and sea anemones are tiny, wriggling animals." And this says, "Beware plant imposters. Mushroom, sea anemone." Take a deep breath. Another subheading we've got here. The next time you pass a plant, stop and thank it. Not only is it pretty to look at, but it also helps you stay alive. Plants give off an important gas called oxygen. This is the same gas that you need to breathe. Plants take in carbon dioxide, the same gas that you breathe out. Thanks a lot. And we'll just take a look over this part of the page here. Some beautiful ferns we can see, and it says strange but true. It really stands out there, this bit of information. Some kinds of ferns are smaller than the tiny blades of grass in a lawn. Others grow as tall as trees. And down at the bottom here, hopefully you spotted it, we've got a caption. Ferns are most at home in damp, shady spots. So this rainforest in New Zealand is a perfect place for them to grow. There are more than 10,000 different types of ferns in the world. I wonder if you've got any ferns in your garden, or if you spot any on your walk. Okay, that's our reading done. Here's your questions. I'm going to zoom out so that you can see the page, because you're going to need to dive back in to the text to find your answers. Here you go. Number 1. How long have flowering plants been around for? Try and spot the key words of the question in the text and then read around it to get your answer. So have a look out for flowering plants somewhere. Where was that? What type of organism is a sea anemone? That's the one that Miss Pinder White couldn't say to begin with. So what type of organism is a sea anemone? See if you can spot the word anemone. See if you can say it. Anemone. See if you can spot it in the text. And then see if you can find out what type of an organism it is. And 3, what gas do plants give off? So look for the word gas. Once you find the words, read around it to get your answer. And please write your answers in full sentences for me. Okay, pause the video, give yourself a chance to do that properly. Remember, you can always go back and listen to me read this page again. Good job, guys.